Hello there, this is NTV at 1. I'm Smriti, Vidyarthi. Thanks very much for joining us. Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe is today expected to tour Murang'a County to inspect the country's preparedness to battle COVID-19 as the number of infections of the deadly disease continue to surge. The national tally stands at 11,673. The Health CS will inspect the Murang'a Level 5 Hospital and Kiserian Mission Hospital as part of the assessment tour. Our Central Region reporter Melita Oletenges now joins us from Murang'a County with an update. Melita, what's happening?
Yes, indeed, Smriti. The national tally of fatalities stands at 217 after 8 more people succumbed to the deadly coronavirus yesterday, as announced by the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Mutahi Kagwe, who was inspecting the preparedness of Nakuru County. Today, he is expected here at Murang'a County anytime from now. We've already seen the Director General for Health, Patrick Amoth, here. The Governor of Murang'a County, Mwangi Wairia, is also here. And the Governor is expected to tour 2 facilities today, starting with the Murang'a Level 5 Hospital, where he will tour the 35 ICU bed capacity, which has a room for expansion up to 50 beds, in which this particular ICU was built within 19 days, just to show you how the counties are trying to run and get prepared to battle the coronavirus. So he will inspect that facility and also head to Kiserian, where he will also inspect the preparedness of the hospitals. Remember, Murang'a County has over 300 bed capacity, and they are looking to even expand and get more hospital beds. Remember, the counties that are prepared in the country, there are only under 30 counties which have met the preparedness in the counties, and this was particularly reiterated by the CS yesterday, saying that it is more of a personal responsibility now, bearing in mind that the spread of the virus is at the community level. Allow me now to bring in the CEC for Health in Murang'a County. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Perhaps what are the numbers we are looking at, and how are you trying to battle this deadly virus?
Okay, my name is Joseph Mbai. I'm the CC in charge of Health Murang'a County. In Murang'a County, COVID cases. So far, we've registered 21 cases in Murang'a County, and 17 of them have already recovered and gone home. We have 5 in isolation at the hospital, but we also have another 5 at home. So we have started also the home isolation system as directed by the Ministry of Health. And we have 349 beds across the county when President gave a directive that we have more than 300. In Murang'a County, we did 349. We have in Muriranjas 134. We have in Kangema 45. We have in Kaharo 30. We have here in Murang'a at KMTC we have 96. And we are still working hard to make sure that we have more beds, just in case, to be prepared for any upsurge. Then, as you've been hearing in the media, our governor has put up a 35-bed ICU that has that 5 beds right now, though it has capacity to accommodate 50. And in that ICU right now, we have 4 patients, although not COVID, but still helping them. And we are really prepared in case there's an upsurge, and if in case we get patients, we have set aside several beds which can take care of ICU cases in the ICU in case we get them. Yes.
Thank you so much. That is the CEC for Health from Murang'a County, Joseph Mbai. They are just highlighting some of the things that Murang'a County has done to prepare to battle this particular virus. Remember, the virus is now at community level, and do you expect the CS to address this and other issues in his address later in the day?
Right, apologies for that tricky connection there with Melita Oletenges, but we did get a sense of what is happening as the audio there was clear. But just to sum it up, the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Mutahi Kagwe, is expected in Murang'a County, and he will be touring some of the facilities, including the Murang'a Level 5 Hospital, to check on the preparedness in light of COVID-19. All right, to the coast now, and the government has been ordered to pay 70% of the 1.3 billion shilling settlement to residents of Owino Oru slums in Jomvu, Mombasa County. The residents were affected by lead poisoning attributed to a factory within the area. The Environment and Lands Court is in its ruling on Thursday also directed the state agencies responsible for the environment to clean up any remaining lead deposits or pay in excess of 700 million shillings. Our Coast reporter Kazi Mtaani has more details. Kevin, what a ruling. Tell us more.
Oh, well, Smriti, this comes as a reprieve for residents of Owino Ouru, that is in Jomvu constituency. They filed this case in the year 2016, suing the state after they raised complaints of being exposed to lead from a nearby factory in that area. So this 1.3 billion shillings has been distributed to different government agencies and the private factory. And according to court documents, the first respondent, which is the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources, will pay 10% of the total amount, that is 1.3 billion shillings. The Ministry of Health will pay 10% of the amount as well. The National Environment and Management Authority, that is NEMA, will pay 40%. The EPZ will pay 10%, and of course also the private company, that is the Penguin Paper and Book, will pay 5%. This comes after the court found the state liable of giving licenses to this particular smelting company and not even engaging the public through the public participation during the establishment of the facility. So according to Lady Justice Anne Amolo, NEMA officials were found liable of giving a license to this particular company, and this is according to 20 petitioners who are involved in this matter, saying that over 20 residents from that particular area have died as a result of being poisoned as a result of lead poisoning from the factory. So a lot of things is currently happening on ground, and of course, with not forgetting that the residents are happy and of course thankful to the justice system after the long years of enduring the waiting. Waiting in the corridors of justice for this ruling to be delivered. So it's a wait and see to see now going forward what the government will do, not forgetting that they have a period of 14 days to appeal this particular matter. And of course also this case was fronted by the Center for Justice, Governance and Environmental Action. And of course we spoke to the officials from that institution, saying that what follows now is to ensure that all the affected residents from that particular area, of which they have their names and identification documents, all of them will benefit from this settlement. And of course also reiterating that accountability will be followed, and again warning any unscrupulous members who think that they will interfere with the court decision. And again, they are ready to go ahead and battle, face them on with the documents. And of course, they are armed and ready with the advice of their lawyers, that they will be able to execute what the justice that has been delivered by the court. So we'll be having this story compiled in a very comprehensive manner in our subsequent bulletins, both at 7 and 9 p.m. Back to Smriti.
All right, Kevin, thanks very much. NTV's Kazi Mtaani coming to us live there from Mombasa County. Indeed, a massive reprieve for those residents who had been affected by lead poisoning. Now, while Samburu is among the counties that have not recorded a case of the coronavirus, there are still fears that this could change following the ease of movement restrictions early this month. This is according to Samburu Governor Moses Lenonkulal, who says the county may have to close its borders to prevent residents from contracting the virus. The county has 5 major entry points, which Lenonkulal says adds to the risk factor. He was speaking at the Samburu Referral Hospital, where Equity Bank was donating personal protective equipment to help frontliners keep safe in the fight against the virus. And to Busia County now, where health facilities there are suffering from a shortage of blood as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, as most residents fear donating blood at the medical facilities. The officer in charge of the Busia County Blood Satellite Centre, Rosemary Akuku, says the situation is dire. She notes with concern that some patients, including accident victims, expectant mothers and those suffering from sickle cell anemia, risk losing their lives due to the severe blood shortage. According to the Busia Chief Officer in charge of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Isaac Omeri, the county needs at least 100 units of blood monthly. He's urging residents to donate blood, adding that the facility adheres to the Ministry of Health guidelines to combat COVID-19.
This year, there was that scare, there was that fear that once I go to the hospital to donate blood, I will be tested, and once I'm COVID positive, and then I will have to be isolated, I'll have to be quarantined, and therefore there was that fear. Nazidi kuomba ya kwamba mzidi kujitolea tafadhali. Msiogope, don't fear. Ukikuja, there are measures that we have already put in place to make sure that you will be as safe as possible.
Now, hundreds of thousands of youth are trying their luck to earn a living through the Kazi Mtaani initiative initiated by the national government. A huge number among the many are trained teachers who have lost their jobs in the last few months after some private facilities buckled under the pressure of the COVID-19 pandemic. Leila Mohammed has more details.
The old railway line that used to be an important feature in Bungoma town is revealed from underneath the overgrown grass. The young men and women clearing the area have just started their casual labor contracts under the Kazi Mtaani initiative. Many in this cohort are teachers who for the last few months have not been able to make ends meet due to the closure of schools that has now been extended to January 2021.
Nimekuwa nafunza shule ya serikali lakini kwa board. Na tangu janga la corona litokee, imekuwa ngumu kulipwa mshahara. Tulilipwa tu hadi mwezi wa 4. Na tangu hapo hatujaona mshahara tena na maisha imekuwa ngumu.
Tangu janga la corona lilipoanza, kwa hakika walimu wengi sasa shule za binafsi waliathirika sana kwa hili janga la corona. Imefika wakati lazima utafute hata jinsi namna unaweza jiendelesha kimaisha.
Education was paralyzed, and as a result, even teachers on board, payment has been a problem. Since March up to now, some of us have not received anything.
While some entrepreneurs are diversifying their business ideas to enable them keep their schools alive and also pay their teachers, some 114 private learning institutions are in the red and have declared that they may not be able to reopen after the virus has been contained, whenever that will be. For the many teachers whose income has been affected, they have no option but to seek alternative sources of income.
Na wakati nilipata ripoti kwamba kuna kazi mtaani na ni kazi kwa vijana, nikaona wacha nijaribu bahati yangu na nikaweza kupata kazi hii.
Kwa sababu kama hauna mapato, hauna vile unajiendelesha maisha, inabidi hauwezi kaa tu, lazima utafute kitu kingine chenye unaweza fanya, nini chenye unaweza fanya. Lakini tunatumainia Mungu ya kwamba hili janga la corona litaisha na maisha yataweza kurejelea kawaida.
When this disease is over, we shall be needed. Our services are very essential in the development of our child's education. So we appeal that they should not just be silent on us. Let them assist us because we need each other.
Just last week, the Ministry of Education directed that schools reimburse parents who had paid the school fees for the second and third terms of 2020. Many institutions have warned that they may not be able to refund due to credit obligations. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
did not stop them from exchanging vows at a quaint wedding ceremony. The couple set the date for their wedding for July 2020 and stuck to it, despite the challenges posed by COVID-19. The wedding was held under strict Ministry of Health guidelines in Isiolo.
The aisles would normally be full of people celebrating the soon-to-be married couple. Evelyn Kanywa and Erickson Munene exchanged their vows in front of a handful of guests, including the couple's parents. But the couple, just like many others, had plans for a very different kind of wedding.
COVID-19 pandemic sasa affect a lot of things. Tulikuwa tumealika watu wengi, lakini we had to follow the guidelines of the Ministry of Health to the letter.
But even the pandemic could not take away their joy.
I glorify the Lord because I know it is His doing, it's not us. It's the Lord who has made it to come to comprehension completely.
When people decide to get married, they should not be dissuaded or discouraged by way of pandemics or other things that may try to discourage them. What they ought to do is just to get tough, because when the going gets tough, the tough keeps going. Kwa hivyo ni kumweka Mungu mbele.
The wedding took place at the Deliverance Church in Kulalamwe, Isiolo. The couple encouraged others who want to get married not to allow the pandemic to kill their dreams. Gena Kirori, NTV.
And congratulations to them. Elsewhere, Tana River High Court has issued a warrant of arrest against 6 Kenya Wildlife Service officers attached to the Tsavo East National Park for failing to appear in court during the mention of their case. The 6, who had been released on a 500,000 shilling cash bail in May 2020, were accused of killing 50-year-old Lami Bocha in December 2018. Lady Justice Korir cancelled the bond terms and issued a warrant of arrest against all the accused persons, saying that it was their responsibility to be in court without fail. The Defence Counsel told the court that the accused persons had delayed attending court because of logistical issues brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. Korir directed the accused be presented in court on Monday, 21st July. The body of a 14-year-old has been retrieved 5 days after he drowned in Kiserian Dam in Kajiado County. Residents are now calling on the relevant authorities to ensure no life is lost.
A somber mood engulfed the residents of Kiserian as they stared into the still waters of Kiserian Dam, where 14-year-old Kefa Kinungi drowned. The family and friends, overwhelmed by grief, could not hold back their tears as the remains were pulled out of the river 5 days after he drowned.
Na sana si wazee hata ama wamama tunatoa vijana tu kila siku wamekufa. Na tukishatoa hayo maneno yanaishi kuishia kwa midomo. Hakuna jambo tushaiona.
The residents blamed the government of laxity. They say the dam is unprotected and rescue operations are ill-equipped. Local divers decried of the difficulties they experienced while retrieving the body.
Kwa hivyo ombi letu kwa serikali haswa ya county, vile wasimamizi wa dam hii ambao ni Ololaiza Water Company, ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba wameweka usalama katika dam hii, na vile tuweze kupata vijana ambao watakuwa trained kama divers, waajiriwe na county ili waweze kutusaidia wakati kunatokea mambo kama hayo.
The county government has pledged to beef up security in the area to avert further incidences.
County imeweka ezeko, lakini kuna watu ambao wanaingia na kuliharibu. Tutaweza kuleta security na tutaweza kuleta divers kuhakikisha kwamba janga kama hili halifanyiki tena.
Kefa's body has been moved to City Mortuary as the family begins the burial arrangements. Ruth Sarmoi, NTV.
Gikomba Markets Mitumba Association has welcomed the reopening of international flights by the government in a month's time. The traders said that the move is a welcome relief since their livelihoods were affected due to the pandemic-forced air travel restrictions. The sector was hard hit by the ban on international flights aimed at curbing the spread of COVID-19. International flights were suspended on March 22nd and are expected to resume on August the 1st. The traders also highlighted some of the measures they will take to ensure that they curb the spread of the virus in the market vicinity.
We would also like to assure you of our commitment to working with you, Mr. President, the NMS, and the various county government in combating COVID-19 and in ensuring that Gikomba and other markets become more conducive for doing business.
And at this point, we take a quick break on NTV at 1. Stay with us. As always, there's more when we return.
Mambo hayajakuwa sawa tangu shule zifungwe. Kukabiliana na mitihani bila kujitayarisha kabisa kuifanya. Wasiwasi mwingine ni kupitwa na masomo. Kwa kweli sio sawa. Ukitaka kuwafundisha wakiwa nyumbani, wao nao wanataka kucheza tu. Tufungue njia elimu iendelee kwa kufikia bure mtaala ulioidhinishwa na KICD kupitia Safaricom Digital Learning na Shupavu 291 ukiwa nyumbani. Wanafunzi wa shule za msingi na sekondari wanaweza kuendelea na masomo yao wakiwa nyumbani. Fungua njia ya bure kufikia masomo yaliyoidhinishwa na KICD ili watoto wapate masomo na marudio wakiwa nyumbani kupitia Safaricom Digital Learning na Shupavu 291. Piga *291# upate maelezo zaidi. Tufungue njia elimu iendelee.
Dad, what's titration?
Remove of dirt from the water.
Dad, that's filtration!
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Been a tragedy, sweetheart. What happened?
You repay me by taking the love of my life away from me. There's no point in being a good man in this life.
They are good people. They really didn't deserve this.
You don't exist! You don't exist!
However hard you try to deny it, I know it was you.
Along came love. Along came love. In association with Blue Band Peanut Butter.
Thanks for staying with us. Nancy Gathungu has been sworn in as the country's new Auditor General, ending a 10-month search for Edward Oko's replacement. The swearing-in ceremony was presided over by Chief Justice David Maraga. Gathungu said her main priority will be clearing the backlog of cases occasioned by her delayed appointment.
Obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution of Kenya and all other laws of the Republic.
I'm assuming office at challenging times, owing to the gap that existed between the expiry of the term of my former colleague and predecessor, FCPA Edward Ouko, and my assuming office. This has occasioned a backlog of audit reports, and my priority, therefore, will be to put mechanisms to clear the audit backlog as soon as possible, so that entities may hold their annual general meetings, and development partners can also get feedback on spending of the projects they support. And most importantly, the people of Kenya and other stakeholders can get information on how public resources have been managed for their benefit.
Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed lifestyles and even stopped events. As the number of cases continues to grow and restrictions to curb the spread remain in place, there is one community that feels aggrieved. The Bukusu community feel that skipping the biannual circumcision ritual would be an abomination, and they're now seeking presidential consent to gather the young boys in August.
Ombi langu kwa serikali ni ya kwamba hii ni kimila. Ni kimila ambayo inatokana kwa damu na ilianzishwa na mababu zetu. Sisi tulipata ilikuwa pale. Mimi naomba tu serikali ikupatie nafasi kwa sababu ni mwezi wa 8 peke yake.
The Bukusu elders in Bungoma County find themselves at a crossroads to cancel the circumcision ritual or to risk gathering amidst COVID-19. Some parents are willing to wait for the consent from the government, while another group claims that by skipping this ritual this year, cultural ramifications are dire.
Huwa inachukua muda kwa sababu watoto huwa wako shuleni. Lakini sasa hivi vile wako kwa nyumbani namna hii, mimi najua haitachukua wiki moja. Kila mtoto atakuwa amepashwa tohara na watu wachache, kwa sababu kama watatahiri, wacha niseme watoto 100 in a day. Kwa kila boma watakuwa wanatairisha. Utakuwa unapata kwa boma wako watu 6 ama 7.
Under the Ministry of Health guidelines, social gatherings remain banned, social and physical distancing is encouraged. Any circumcision ceremony would most likely breach those rules. However, Bukusu elders say they are willing to compromise by avoiding a gathering.
Lakini serikali ikisema hakuna kabisa, sisi tutatengeneza tu vizu zetu na tukae nyumbani, tungoje. Lakini shida ni ya kwamba mimi nikiona tu mtoto ako uji, ati hana nguo mwezi wa 8, hiyo roho yangu inafanya tu. Hiyo siwezi kukubalia nayo. Hiyo paka nitaenda huko. Hiyo lazima nitaona huyo mtoto ako namna gani.
The elders who also perform the rite of passage hope that they can be allowed to circumcise the boys at home and during the day.
Hii shughuli ya usiku ilikuwa inaleta madhara mengi sana. Hiyo ndio ilikuwa inaleta watu kuchanganyikiwa na kufanya maovu ambaye hata kanisa pia haitaki. Watafanya jioni, watoto wanaenda kulala, then baada ya kulala saa 12 mtoto anapelekwa mtoni, anakuja anatahirishwa na maneno yanaisha, watu wanaenda nyumbani.
Some parents are also considering to take their boys to health facilities for the important cultural rite. They hope the government can approve their request. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
Now, officials from the Energy Regulatory Commission of Kenya this morning seized gas cylinders that have been in the market in Thika town illegally. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority is targeting unlicensed traders who they say are putting Kenyans at risk by illegally refilling gas cylinders. One suspect was arrested in the operation and is being held at the Makongeni police station awaiting to be arraigned. Several gas companies have claimed that their branded cylinders have been used in the illegal trade. All right, further afield now, and countries around the world are still struggling to hem in efforts to curb the spread and effects of COVID-19. The deadly virus has so far claimed 590,000 lives and infected over 13 million people. Meanwhile, the African Union has stated that when a vaccine becomes available, it will coordinate its distribution on the continent instead of individual negotiations between manufacturers and countries.
A massive surge in coronavirus infections in South Africa's Eastern Cape is resulting in ambulances waiting for hours outside hospitals, which have limited bed capacity.
At the moment, the reason is because the hospital is full. She was there yesterday. She waited outside for about 4 hours and they couldn't help her because there was no bed available for her. And she doesn't want the same situation to happen again now because her condition isn't severe enough to need urgent hospitalization. So the reason for her not wanting to go is because she doesn't want to wait so long.
The Eastern Cape has recorded around 18% of South Africa's 311,000 coronavirus cases, making it the country's third worst affected province.
So we've assessed her vital signs and she's decided not to go to hospital.
Meanwhile, Africa Union seeks to coordinate virus vaccine rollout on the continent as soon as the vaccine for COVID-19 becomes available.
We are encouraging local manufacturing of vaccines, which means if we have a good candidate vaccine or a vaccine that has been proven to be successful or effective in any country, we are asking for intellectual property transfer so that they can be manufactured locally on the continent.
Elsewhere, governors of 19 states across northern Nigeria have banned informal Islamic madrasa schools. However, concerns have been raised over the safety of the children who rely on the schools as their homes. There are fears that the children may resort to street begging as a means to survive during the pandemic. Coronavirus cases in India topped 1 million on Friday, official data showed, as authorities struggle to check the spread of the deadly pandemic across the world's second most populous nation.
All right, now some sports news. And Real Madrid were crowned Spanish La Liga champions for the 34th time on Thursday after Karim Benzema scored twice in a 2-1 victory over Villarreal, which clinched the title with 1 game to spare. Benzema's double included a second-half penalty as Madrid moved 7 points clear to end Barcelona's 2-year hold on the trophy. Barca had to prevail against Osasuna at home and hope Madrid slipped up, but their fading challenge ended with a 2-1 defeat at Camp Nou despite a brilliant Lionel Messi free kick. Well, this means that Madrid claim their third La Liga title in 12 years after a relentless run of form since Spanish football resumed on 11th of June following the coronavirus pandemic. Zinedine Zidane's side have won 10 games out of 10 since the restart. They have conceded 4 goals in that time and never been behind in a match.
Conceded. Zidane, a very happy man. Ramos lifts the trophy aloft and Real Madrid are confirmed as champions.
Manchester United beat Crystal Palace 2-0 to keep the pressure on Leicester after their top 4 rivals defeated Sheffield United as the battle for the Champions League qualification heated up on Thursday. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side had no margin for error after Leicester's 2-0 victory earlier in the day, and they responded thanks to goals from Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial. United's 5th win in their last 6 league games leaves them in 5th place, and they are level on points, with 4th place Leicester trailing them on goal difference and 1 point behind 3rd place Chelsea. At Goodison Park, Aston Villa's hopes of avoiding relegation were seriously damaged by their 1-1 draw against Everton. Brighton are almost safe after a 1-1 draw at South Coast rivals Southampton.
Getting away from Lundstrom, Damari Gray, who beats Henderson and makes it 2-0.
And to the Serie A now, and Antonio Conte hailed in-form Alexis Sanchez as an extra weapon as the Chilean inspired Inter Milan to a 4-0 win over lowly Spal to move second in Serie A, 6 points behind leaders Juventus. Antonio Candreva scored the opener 8 minutes before the break as Cristiano Biraghi added a second before Sanchez made it 3-0. Ashley Young then picked out Roberto Gagliardini to tap in a 4th with 16 minutes to go.
Biraghi wants another one. Instead, he tees up Alexis Sanchez. Another goal for him. And now Inter could well go on and run right. Eriksen's cross. Alexis Sanchez nearly there. Young collects. Young's ball in, and Gagliardini has a tap in. 4-0 to Inter.
All right, well, that is all we've got time for on NTV at 1. That sports news wraps it all up. Of course, stay tuned. We'll have that daily press briefing, regarding the coronavirus coming up this afternoon. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi. Have yourselves a good afternoon.